Mark Cuban just described the largest, most violent wealth transfer of the artificial intelligence era, and almost nobody actually understood what he said. He stated a brutal, undeniable fact. There are 33 million companies in this country, which is the US, aren't going to have AI budgets, aren't going to have AI experts. He's not talking about tech startups in Silicon Valley, he's talking about the shoe store, the regional logistics and trucking outfit, the mid-sizing accounting firm with 12 employees. He's talking about businesses that actually run the physical, tangible economy. They watch the news, they know AI is coming, and they have absolutely no idea what to do with it. Then, Cuban dropped the ultimate hammer, quoting the head of Microsoft. Software is dead because everything's going to be customized to your unique utilization. Software is dead? The SaaS era ran on one dictatorial rule. Build a generic product, force millions of companies to bend their unique workflows around it, and charge them rent forever. AI ends that contract. The business stops bending to the software, the intelligence bends to the business. Before I completely deconstruct this massive macroeconomic shift, expose why the frontier model builders are fighting a losing war, and give you the precise architectural blueprint for how a career architect can pivot to become an AI integrator and capture this wealth, hit the subscribe button and press the notification bell. I post daily videos showing you exactly how to navigate the global labor and capital market using cold, hard engineering logic. You do not want to miss these execution protocols. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being burned right now to build the foundation. Let them burn the capital because the wealth does not collect where the brain is built. It collects where the brain meets the business. Grab a notebook. It is time to stop trying to build the god and start teaching him a trade. Welcome back. I'm Dr. HR. I hold a PhD in Human Resources, a master's from prestigious Tata Institute of Social Sciences TISS in Mumbai, and a bachelor's in computer engineering. I do not look at artificial intelligence as a magic trick. I look at it as a raw, unstructured utility that requires aggressive structural calibration. Operating on the ground here in Dubai since 2010, consulting for Tier 1 corporate entities, I watch exactly how capital flows. The most ambitious students and professionals today think survival means securing a seat at OpenAI or Anthropic. They are looking at 1%. Mark Cuban is staring directly at the other 99% of the economy. Let us systematically deconstruct this historic wealth transfer through 5 distinct phases: the death of the static software, the intelligence delta, the rise of the integrator, the career architect pivot, and the sovereign execution. Phase 1, the death of a static software, the end of a SaaS tyranny. We must first diagnose the exact structural collapse of a traditional software industry. For the last 20 years, the global economy was ruled by software as a service, SaaS. The business models was highly lucrative for the creator, but deeply parasitic for the users. A massive tech firm would build a customer relationship management (CRM) tool, an enterprise resource planning (ERP) platform, or a basic accounting suite. The software was rigid, it was static, it was coded with specific parameters, drop-down menus, and 4 sequential steps. When a 50-person logistics company purchased the software, they quickly realized it did not perfectly fit their unique, messy operations. But because they lacked the capital to code their own custom platform, they were forced to compromise. They bent their biological and operational workflows to appease the rigid syntax of the software. Mark Cuban and Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella has officially declared that this era is mathematically dead. Artificial intelligence ends the tyranny of a generic software product. Why? Because generative models and autonomous agents are fluid. They do not require a business to change its operations to fit a rigid database. The AI ingests the messy, unstructured, chaotic reality of a business, the disorganized email, the voice notes, and the fragmented spreadsheet, the unique localized compliance laws, and it instantly molds itself around the specific utilization. The intelligence bends to the business. But this profound technological liberation creates a massive immediate crisis. The third-generation manufacturer in the industrial zone cannot tell the difference between a Claude 3.5, Gemini Advanced, and a ChatGPT 4. The county hospital administrator is staring at a hyper-advanced cognitive reactor and asking where the light switch is. Cuban asks the multi-trillion-dollar question, who is going to do it for them? That question is worth more than frontier model themselves. 33 million small and medium-sized businesses, SMBs, in the United States alone, and tens of millions more globally are standing in the dark. They do not have an AI budget. They do not have an in-house chief AI officer. They are desperate for the productivity gains of a custom AI, but they are completely paralyzed by the implementation gap. If you're trying to build another generic SaaS app, you are building a horse carriage during the invention of a combustion engine. The market no longer wants to rent your generic code. The market wants hyper-personalized autonomous intelligence. Phase 2, the intelligence delta, building the nervous system. To capture this wealth, you must understand the geography of an AI battlefield. Right now, the smartest engineers alive, backed by trillions of dollars in sovereign and venture capital, are locked in a ruthless bloodbath over who owns the base layer. OpenAI and Google and Meta are burning billions of dollars on compute, training clusters, and data acquisition. They are trying to build the smartest, most capable raw brain in human history. Let them fight. Let them burn the capital. Let them engage in a massive price war that drives the cost of raw intelligence towards absolute zero. As an apex operator, you do not want to compete in a market where the cost of the core product is plummeting. You want to operate in the layer above it, where the margins are expanding. The wealth of an AI era does not collect where the brain is built. It collects where the brain meets the business. Imagine the dawn of an electricity era. The brilliant physicists and the engineers were busy building massive, highly complex hydroelectric generator and alternative current transformers. That was the base layer. But the biggest financial winners of the electricity era were not the engineers who built the generator. The true fortunes were amassed by the pragmatic, ruthless operators who walked into the dark, soot-filled, steam-powered textile factories and showed the terrified owner exactly where to plug the new machine in. They did not build the electricity, they built the localized grid. In the 2026, the AI base models are the electricity, but a brain is a jar, is useless without a nervous system to control the limbs. The intelligence delta is massive, highly lucrative gap between the raw computational power of an LLM and the actual daily revenue generating activities of a 50% HVAC installation company. The LLM knows the sum total of human knowledge, but it does not know how the HVAC company routes its trucks, how it handles angry customer dispute, or how it calculates its margin on raw copper piping. You do not need to build the brain, you need to build the nervous system that wires that intelligence directly into the business revenue stream. Phase 3, the rise of an AI integrator, the new economic class. This brings us to the birth of an entirely new economic class. Cuban is not describing a new job title, he is describing a foundational shift in how human capital is deployed. He is defining the AI integrator or the technical translator. Every ambitious kid in college right now thinks survival means learning complex calculus, mastering neural networks architecture, and securing a desk at a major tech firm in Silicon Valley. They are applying for a job that AI itself is rapidly learning how to do. The AI integrator operates on an entirely different plane of reality. The integrator learns the capability of the models. They understand the latency of Gemini and context window of Claude, the visual rendering of Sora, and then they turn their back on Silicon Valley. They walk directly into the messy, highly profitable reality of a physical economy. Let us look at a practical, structural execution. An AI integrator walks into a mid-sized regional logistics firm. The firm is bleeding capital because its dispatchers spend 6 hours a day manually reading emails from client, extracting the cargo weight, cross-referencing it with truck availability, and inputting it into a legacy ERP system. The integrator does not tell the owner to buy a new SaaS product. The integrator deploys a custom, multi-agent AI architecture. They use an LLM to automatically parse the incoming emails, extract the exact cargo parameter, and run a mathematical optimization algorithm to instantly route the trucks. They wire this intelligence directly into the company's existing communication flow using simple API calls. The integrator just took a process that cost the company 40 hours of human labor a week and compressed it into 4 seconds. The integrator did not write a million lines of code. They simply built the bridge between the frontier model and the specific localized pain point of the business. There are 33 million companies desperately waiting for someone to walk through their doors and perform this exact surgery. They do not care about the theoretical physics of an AI model. They only care about their operational latency was just reduced to 0 and their profit margin just doubled. The fortunes of the next decade will belong to the operators who stop trying to impress other software engineers and start solving the problems of a physical economy. Phase 4, the career architect pivot, hacking the integration. If you are a professional currently trapped in a corporate hierarchy, watching your own specialized skills slowly commoditize, you must execute the career architect pivot. You must transition from an employee executing a rigid process to an integrator designing the fluid intelligence. How do you practically execute this pivot? You must weaponize your existing operational logic. Step 1. Abandon the code. Master the workflow. You do not need to become a Python developer. You must become a master of a value stream mapping. And you must look at a business, whether it is a HR department navigating complex Oracle SCM structures or a real estate partnership executing intricate commission distributed contracts, and mathematically map the exact flow of the data. Where is the human friction? Where is the latency? You must locate the bleeding wound in the workflow before you ever touch an AI model. Step 2. Deploy Lean Six Sigma for an AI era. In traditional operations, Lean Six Sigma is used to strip away wasted physical movement and reduce the manufacturing defect. As a career architect, you apply this exact same ruthless optimization to cognitive labor. When you identify that a company is wasting 200 hours a month manually auditing compliance documents, you isolate that specific node of waste. You define the exact parameters of a required intelligence. Step 3. The custom nervous system. You select the correct AI model for a task. You do not try to build a massive overarching AI strategy for the company. You build a micro agent. You build a single highly constrained prompt chain that reads the compliance document, cross-reference it against the local legal code, and outputs a binary pass-fail decision. You wire this agent directly into their existing data stream. You do not sell the company artificial intelligence, you sell them the complete eradication of their specific operational latency. When you execute this pivot, you cease to be an employee begging for a 3% raise. You become a high-leverage consultant who commands a percentage of the revenue you just saved. You are no longer competing against the millions of middle managers. You are operating in a blue ocean market where the demand for implementation infinitely exceeds the supply of a competent integrators. Phase 5, the sovereign execution, claiming the wealth transfer. We have diagnosed the death of a software. We have analyzed the intelligence delta. We have defined the integrators and we have outlined the architectural pivot. Now you must secure your ultimate market leverage through the sovereign execution. You cannot capture this massive wealth transfer if you remain a quiet, invisible worker within a single corporation. You must build an unshakable public monopoly on your specific integration expertise. You must build a proprietary proof of work ecosystem. When you walk into a legacy business and successfully wire an AI agent into their revenue stream, you do not just take your consulting fee and walk away. You document the extraction, you sanitize the data, protect the client's privacy, and you construct a highly detailed mathematical case study of an exact integration you built. But you do not post a boring text-heavy PDF on a forgotten blog. You execute like a sovereign media entity. You utilize your high-fidelity digital broadcasting. You set up a Cineline Gears, let's say Sony FX series camera with an impeccable cinematic lighting. You import the raw footage of your technical breakdown and color grade it flawlessly using advanced node-based architecture in DaVinci Resolve 20. You produce an elite structural video essay that deconstructs exactly how to use an LLM to replace a legacy SaaS platform and save a logistics company $500,000 a year. You are not just a consultant, you are an apex broadcasting node. When a CEO of a mid-sized enterprise watches your high-fidelity breakdown, They are not looking at a resume, they are looking at an undeniable mathematical proof of competence delivered with absolute executive authority. They realize immediately that they are the one of the 33 million companies standing in the dark. And you are the person holding the flashlight. You do not send a cold email. You do not have to apply for jobs. The market will aggressively hunt you down. Global recruiters and desperate business owners will fight to acquire your operational bandwidth. You command the price because you have publicly eliminated the hiring risk. This is how you capture the largest wealth transfer in the human history. Look closely at the panic in the technology sector. The software engineers are terrified because the AI can write code. The SaaS founders are terrified because the businesses no longer want to rent their rigid, generic software. The frontier model CEOs are terrified because they are burning billions in a race to the bottom. But the apex operator is completely calm. The apex operator understands that the ultimate power lies in implementation. The physical economy, the shoe store, the trucking outfit, the real estate firm will always exist. They will always need to generate revenue, and they will always need a human architect to walk through their door, understand their messy reality, and wire the raw power of a digital god directly into their bank account. Stop trying to build the brain, build the nervous system. Execute the career architect pivot, document your proof of work, broadcast your dominance, and capture the margins that the rest of the world is too blind to see. Process the data, execute the strategy, and I'll see you at the top.